Hello, I'm Susie Lajoie. I'm an FSI at 14 Wayne Greenwood, and today we are going to talk about shoulder health. So our shoulders are these great joints that give us great benefit in everyday tasks and especially athletics with the great range of motion that it provides. Of course, with great range of motion though comes potential for instability and imbalances and pain. A lot of us have had shoulder pain or have shoulder pain, and today we're going to give you some tools to hopefully correct that pain, or if you're not having pain, prevent any future shoulder pain. So our shoulder joint, we have our shoulder blade, our scapula, and then an area where the head of the humerus sits in. And it's not anchored in there except for by tendons and ligaments. So the muscles around our shoulder are the ones stabilizing it in place. So if you think about it, our shoulder can easily be sitting in the slightly wrong position depending on which muscles are tight and which muscles are loose and weak. Okay? So today we're going to go over a bunch of rehab or prehab exercises that can help stabilize your shoulder joint. We're going to address issues that are common for both athletes and just regular people, everyday people working out to get healthy and strong. We have a list of the stabilizing muscles of the shoulder joint, so scapular stabilizers. The rotator cuff, the four muscles there, rhomboids, traps, specifically middle and lower that we're going to focus on, serratus anterior, and the levator scap. Most of these are strengthening exercises, activation and strengthening, and for the levator scap at the bottom, we're going to be stretching, rolling it, learning how to relax it, because up here is where, and upper traps, is where we carry a lot of our tension and it gets tight and angry and sore. So let's just hop right into it. Okay, for our first exercise, we're going to be working on the rotator cuff, the external rotators, which is externally rotating the humerus. We're going to stick something between our elbow and our side. This is the movement, but we don't want our elbow right in against us. Like a rolled up towel works. I'm going to be using this blue pad for the sake of today. Okay. You can do this on a cable machine with elastic bands. I just have one of these bungees. There's lots of different resistances, so you can choose a resistance specific to you or your client. Choose your resistance at the start, or it can be a little slack, and we're going to externally rotate our humerus to wherever is comfortable for you. You're not trying to hit a certain range of motion, going as far as you can, just what's comfortable, and controlling the way back. Externally rotate, and control the way back. We want to have a light resistance, so we can do many reps. Rotator cuff muscles are not big strength muscles, they're endurance muscles. Also want to make sure that your posture is good while you're doing this. You don't want to start with a forward shoulder. You don't want to be in this position. You want to be standing tall, shoulders pulled back in this position. Then we do our external rotation. And we're trying to avoid getting any kind of like front delt or pec activation. You should be feeling it back here and deep in that shoulder joint. And control the way back. Okay, that can also be done with dumbbells, side lying. So I would have a dumbbell in my hand, side lying, and externally rotating. Put your pad or your towel underneath your elbow still, and this motion. Next, so our rotator cuff externally rotates the humerus, and it also internally rotates the humerus. So, internal rotation, I'm going to still be facing the camera, so I'm switching arms. Internal rotation, you would get the slack off the line. You're starting in this externally rotated position. Your shoulders open, good posture, shoulders pulled back, and you're pulling that across your body. Oh, and I forgot our little, we still have the pad in here. Okay, start with tension, pull it across body. The external rotations that we did first are most often done as like a shoulder rehab exercise because they're more neglected. We're often internally rotating our humerus for movements such as pushing and pressing, and when we're seated or on our phones, we do a lot of stuff in internal rotation. So for shoulder prehab and rehab, often we're working the external rotations, although all cases are unique. And I'm just showing you how to work all the muscles of the rotator cuff, okay? So, that was the rotator cuff, external rotation and internal rotation. All right, next up is rhomboids. So in the middle of your back. T's. For T's, with the thumbs down, we target rhomboids and rear delts, okay? So, you can do these flat on the floor, on your stomach, or you can do them on a bench. I'm going to use the bench here for an example, so I have my knees on the floor, or just your feet on the floor. On your stomach, head wherever is comfortable. Our arms are in a T position and our thumbs are down for this one. All you're going to do is pull your shoulder blades together and pause at the top of that movement. And then allow them to go down. Pulling shoulder blades together and down. The important thing with the T's is to make sure you are relaxing your traps. So when you're pulling your shoulder blades together, they're not coming together and up, putting tension in your traps. You're pulling them together and down. And you should feel that activation in the rhomboids. And you should be thinking of relaxing your traps and feeling that they're not doing the bulk of the work, or any work. They should be relaxed. Okay. And you don't have to come all the way down through your full range of motion. You can stop at halfway. So starting with the thumbs down, pulling the shoulder blades together and back. Together and down, sorry. And relax a bit. Together and down. It's also important to mention that it's not going to be a big range of motion. If you start going beyond the range of motion that your shoulder blades allow, when you retract them, then you start getting the humeral head pushing forward. So I'm exaggerating here, but like this position. We want to avoid that. The humerus stays where it is and goes back only as far as the scapula goes with it. Okay? Let's do a couple more of those. Good, you can do even longer pauses at the top too, like 5 to 10 seconds. So, that was rhomboids and rear delts, T's with thumb downs. Now we're going to do T's with thumbs up, and just rotating your humerus like that, shifting your thumbs to up, that changes the emphasis. Now we're working on middle and lower traps, specifically the middle for the T's. When we work the lower traps, we're going to be in the Y position. So middle traps and some rotator cuff. We can do it in the same position on the bench. So remember, we're pulling our shoulder blades together and down. Traps are relaxed. On the bench, thumbs rotate up. And when your thumbs rotate up, you should feel your shoulders coming towards your ears. Pulling the shoulder blades together and down. And relax a bit. Together and down. you should really feel it in the middle lower section here in your back. Not lower back, the lower part of your upper back. Okay, that was T's thumbs up. And I do want to, this is a mistake I often make, I start getting tension in my arms and bending my arms at the elbows. We want to make sure that the arms are straight throughout the whole movement. And the movement is just coming from shoulder blades. Wise. This will produce an even smaller range of motion, but we're not going for range of motion, we're just going for the activation. You're going to feel this in your lower traps, so all the way down in your mid-back. On your bench or on the floor, in a Y position with your thumbs facing up. Pull the shoulder blades together and back, while keeping your arms straight and relaxed. Okay, very good. The three of those, the T's of thumbs down, T's of thumbs up, and Y's should all feel slightly different. All right, we're on to Serratus Anterior. Muscle group that wraps around the side here, activated by pushing motions. We're going to do scapular push-ups and wall slides for this. This is a great shoulder stabilizer, and it's good to do something specific for it in your shoulder routine or your warm-up. Scapular push-ups. We're going to be in a push-up position. You can have your knees on the ground if you wish, that's fine. And we're going to start neutral and then protract the shoulder blades. So, push into the floor and the upper backs get around, pausing there for a 3 to 5 count, and then relaxing back to neutral. And then push again. And relax back to neutral. Let's do one more together. If you need to feel it more, you can be in the high plank position. Push into the floor. And back to neutral and relax. Another great Serratus Anterior activator is wall slides. So I'm going to use this wall behind us here, but first I'll show you from the side view what it's going to look like. So I'm starting with my elbows slightly below shoulder height, and I'm going to round my upper back a little bit and push into the wall. That's activating your Serratus Anterior, and as I'm pushing, I'm going to slide my arms up the wall without losing the slight arch that I have with my hair so you can see. Okay, so just slight rounding in the upper back. You're going to feel like you want to arch as you go up and extend your arms, but you're going to work on keeping that activation by keeping the upper back round with a constant push into the wall. Okay? It helps to have sleeves when you're doing this because my arms are going to kind of stick on the wall, but once you're used to it, you're probably going to be able to push into the wall without actually having pressure into the wall. Like you can do a push without having anything there. I'm pushing right now. Okay? So watch my motion on the wall. Again, it's not how far up can I go. It's whatever range of motion you're comfortable with. I usually stop when shoulders are about level or a bit above my shoulders, and then going back down. It's a slow, controlled motion. Arms are set. Activate Serratus Anterior by rounding and pushing. looks like a simple motion, right? But there's all those things for you to think of while you're going through the motion. That was serratus anterior. Now for our levator scap, often it's the muscle that wants, with your upper trap, that wants to be relaxed, okay? So for this I have a lacrosse ball down here, and we're gonna do some stretches. So pretty simple, the side to side stretch. I'm going to gently support my head while pulling it towards my opposite shoulder. And it's your neck, so be careful with it. Just a gentle stretch, and while you're in that stretch, you can gently move your head around, looking up, and move it to look down. And looking down is where you'll feel the bulk of the stretch. So you can hold that from anywhere like 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then we're going to the other side doing the same thing. I always like to have my hand there to support and guide your head just in case it feels more safe and controlled. Moving a little bit to look up. And then we're going to look down. You can hold that stretch 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then we have our lacrosse ball. Okay? You're going to need a ball for this also. We're just going to do some self-release on our upper traps and levator scap, okay? So make sure you're never on your spine. You should never feel it on your vertebrae. The lacrosse ball can go on either side of that though, and down into your upper traps. You decide the amount of pressure. Even manually doing it like this right now, I can feel it, but it's not quite enough for me, so I'm going to go stand against the wall with my lacrosse ball. It looks awkward when it is effective. We're going to follow the muscle, go up and down in this direction, and then we can go down into our traps in this direction. Okay, so we've activated a bunch of muscles that may be sleepy, and we have relaxed some muscles that may be overcompensating and tight and angry. So these are excellent exercises to do on their own when you get a chance, or before like an upper body workout. I do highly recommend though that if you have any shoulder issues, you have a physiotherapist or an athletic therapist look at your shoulders beforehand, and they will recommend which of these is best for you to correct your imbalances. But most common issues for people, especially at desk jobs, because we're often internally rotated and hunched forward, you can't go wrong by working your external rotators and activating your mid-lower traps and rhomboids. So my go-to is always those external rotators, the T's, and then T's thumbs down, T's thumbs up, and progress to the Y's, only if you're comfortable with them, if you've done the T's for a while. So those are my 3 go-tos. Can't go wrong with them. I hope everybody finds some benefit in at least one of these and makes it part of their daily routine in order to have healthier, happier shoulders.